Arsenal beat Atletico Bilbao with another incredible defensive performance from every single player back there, but Jurrien Timber, in my eyes, deserves some credit for that game. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about exactly what he did really well and where he can improve, but why he is one of Arsenal's most important players and one of the most disrespected players in the Premier League. So let's get into it. Now, obviously, Jurrien Timber might be a weird player to choose to highlight from this game because I think undoubtedly Mascara is another player that deserves his credit, and so does Gabriel and so does Calafiori. I think yet again it's more about the defensive unit than specific players, but these specific players make up that unit, and without their individual brilliance, I think that is a brilliant thing that really does help the team be one of the best defenses in Europe. Now, Jurrien Timber in this game I don't think had the best first half in the world. I think there was some good work there, but I think in the second half he was one of the best players on the pitch. And while there was definitely some mistakes I think in his game, I absolutely don't mind if he's taking risks with the ball, which he did. And I also think in terms of helping the players around him, he very much got much more used to it in the game, which is a big thing. Now, the reason why Jurrien Timber, in my eyes, is incredible is because he understands the aspect of the game where Arsenal need to improve in game, and he understands the occasion at all times. He really gets when to hold onto the ball maybe quite a long time and when to release it, and he really understands when someone's pressing him with intent or when someone's pressing him just to kind of get him to kick the ball away. He kind of understands these things, which are quite hard sometimes to see and know, but I think in terms of gauging the game's performance, he is someone that really keeps us composed back there. Now, in this game, I think in the first half, defensively, we will talk about it, he was incredible, but I want to talk about some of the attacking work that he tried to do in that first half. Now, I do think going forward, he was much more maybe attacking than some people will give him credit for, talking about how he's defensive, not overlapping enough, not passing it into Madueke quick enough, but I genuinely think he was trying, and I think there was some good work doing it. Now, I do want to say on the other side, Calafiori is obviously the most chaotic and free-roaming player that Arsenal have, and we allow Calafiori to go into positions like striker to create. That's sort of his job. He can do what he wants. Now, this always means Timber has to be more restricted in where he goes and definitely careful of where he's going and pushing up too far. This is why I think in terms of overlapping and not helping Madueke as much as he could have, it was up there. I think that's more of a tactical thing than a Timber thing, genuinely, because we saw it against Forest. But something about Timber in this game is that he is really good at being very reactive and passing it around and also running off the ball. What I mean by that, there was a few times in the defensive areas where I really felt like the right side were helping Arsenal create a lot more. We couldn't really get past the mid block in terms of long passes, and we had to kind of work our way through the lines. And with Madueke and with Zubimendi, more importantly, there's a few times where Timber would collect it, he'd make some risky central passes, but then keep running around the defender to help play. It's something we talk about with Madueke a lot, and I think it's quite funny that he has the same thing to get us up the pitch. But in terms of that technical control and understanding when to press and when not to, it is a big thing. And even though that some of the passes didn't really come off in the final third, every single time Timber picked the ball up on the right hand side, I felt like he was trying inside passes, I felt like he was trying to put Madueke through or even Zubimendi, and I genuinely felt like as a triangle out there that didn't work completely well with players not necessarily familiar with each other that much. I thought Timber was really good at getting the ball into the positions that we needed, maybe not being as quick as I would wanted in some areas, and I think that's fair to judge, but I also think that that genuinely comes from more game time and more time with the players around him, which I still think him making them risks is very important. Now, from a forward perspective, I do think there were some really good areas he propped up. He didn't overlap as much as I'd want, like I've mentioned, but I also did like how when Arsenal did progress the ball centrally a few times, I think Calafiori did one, there were some others from other players as well, and we were able to get the ball out to that right-hand side. Timber is a good overlapping option when Madueke does come inside. You know, that cross he does in the first half, where Woklz goes to head the ball and he heads it just wide, is brilliant play. We work it quickly. Timber's there as the later overlapping option, which we know he can be good at. We saw it against Forest, where he waits, and then comes later, and it just kind of catches the defense off guard. That is becoming a real part of Timber's game. Everyone kind of judges his attack and work compared to his defensive work because I don't think he's as exciting and as good as someone like Ben White in them areas, but he is still a very good player, and he's definitely improving at it, which is more important. The cross he did against Forest was unlucky that Rice didn't get on the end of it. I think it's a good cross broadly, and I think it's still in the right area, and this one is a brilliant cross. You know, he takes one touch to control it, he curls it right in, and it's there's a good chance for Woklz, but it's a hard header. He has to really get there, has to maybe stretch for it, but I still like where Timber put it in that area. And although that's on the attacking side, I think one of the biggest things that Timber offers in the attacking sense for Arsenal is his ability to win the ball back high up, which I just don't think anyone else has in this team. Like I mentioned, Timber is the more cautious fullback. He's the guy that has to stay a little bit back, kind of wary, kind of make sure that people aren't countering on him, because he is going to have to run back a lot more than someone like Calafiori, who we don't expect that of. And that comes in a place where Jurrien Timber knows when to push up and be aggressive in a tackle. We have seen it in the entire last season and the start of this year of when we have the ball in these right half spaces and lose it, he is the first person to react and win the ball back straight away, which gives us a lot of space for our wingers. There was a few times in this game, especially in the box and just outside it on the right side, where he is so good at doing this. He's in the right area and he does a physical tackle, which is perfect in them one-on-one situations where winning the ball back. The big one is obviously in the first half where he wins it and it ends up putting Madueke through, who kind of slides it into Eze, who's about to score, and then the defender does a good block. And that all comes because Timber has been aggressive, helping up his winger Madueke being, and always being there to win the ball back, which is something that Timber does exceptionally. But Timber is a guy that you know what you're going to get from him. You know, he does a lot of body feints, which really trick defenders out. In the box, this has been quite efficient in the past of him getting past the player, but he does it a lot to keep the ball in defensive areas, which is big. But also he has that ability to come across his body and then cross it back post. He did that in this game once, and I just love it. I think when you have him inside the channel now, he's becoming a real option at passing it to the winger for a little 1-2, or being someone that can shift his body quickly, because he just genuinely has no angle bias. I know we spoke about it before, but he just doesn't care. He will find a pass no matter what the angle is, because it just does not bother him. And defensively, yet again, one-on-one, this guy is incredible. He can win the ball back in defensive areas calmly. He can run past players and create something going forward. And there was a few times in this game he actually took quite a lot of risk, I felt like, on the ball. There's that one that he makes down the right hand side. He goes past a few players, maybe overruns it, and then Mascara actually has a 2v1, and you know, Mascara does brilliantly with it because he's just amazing apparently, so it's fine. But obviously you would like that to be a little bit shored up. But there's also moments where he's in the defense, he's proper calm on the ball, passing the ball around, and then he just tries something different, and it seems to always come off. It seems to be the right idea when it happens. And also in many ways, he is that most comfortable passer in the defense. He's one of the most comfortable. He is so good on the ball, and it makes it so much easy. And we spoke about his 1v1 abilities in the past, but in the Forest game of the weekend, in this game, he is one of the best one-on-one defenders in the world. I genuinely think he's the best one-on-one defender in terms of a fullback in the world. I think that's not a difference. And it's because not only does he have this ability to kind of sporadically move his body around, you know, he'll go one way and then still keep a leg out the other way and manage to win the ball back, but it's just so easy for him. He just has such flexibility. But it's also just the fact that he is so intelligent. He knows what players are trying to do against him. He does his research. He understands where they want to go, left or right, and he just takes his time. He's composed. He never really like lunges in unless he has to, which is another thing which I love that Arsenal have. You know, you only lunge in if you have to, don't do it all the time. And I think that really pays dividend. And yeah, no, he's going to make some mistakes sometimes with the amount of stuff he does on the ball, but genuinely I think that he is still becoming an attacking asset in the team while being one of the best defensive assets we have. And okay, there is definitely worries about his fitness because you don't want him to continue to play it all the time, so hopefully Ben White can come back soon, or at least Mascara can play him right back if Saliba returns, because keeping Timber fit is mightily important for that future. Now, in terms of stats, because we'll obviously always go through them, I want to make it clear that 42 out of 50 passes, 84% completion isn't the best, but it's passes that he tries. He's a lot more willing to try passes inside and risk a little more passes than some other players will, and he is that sort of player. But insanely important of the game overall, 82 touches, 2 touches in the opposition box, and I'm looking at the successful dribbles, accurate crosses, and accurate long balls. Not amazing, but at least he's having that effort to try it. And I think most of that was the first half. He really didn't sort of get the connection with Madueke. They need to play quicker into him and not wait. Maybe you would with Saka a little bit more, but that is fine. That will come in the future. But defensive efforts were incredible. 5 tackles, 2 clearances, 1 headed clearance, 1 interception, and 6 recoveries. An absolute asset in terms of running around the pitch and being so good that it becomes almost normal. Ground duels and duels wise, you know, he is up there. 7 out of 11 ground duels won, which is brilliant. Obviously, he only had 1 aerial and he didn't win it, and I feel like that was quite harsh if I remember rightly. But he is someone that is physical when he he needs to be, and on the ground probably one of the best players in the team. Now he's not the only one. Obviously immense credit has to go for the entire backline and the goalkeeper. I think all of them defended in times quite nervy. I think there were some passes that weren't really where I want them to be and some risks that were quite bad. All of them made mistakes at times, but they ended up defending very well when they made their mistakes, you know, coming back, defending well when it needed, and I think that's very important. Mascara was absolutely incredible, and so was Gabriel, of course. Overall, let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I would love to see your reaction to the game overall. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.